Welcome back to BaldHeaded Metal, guys, and welcome back to another reaction. This time around from Lovebites for their Epilogue and Don't Bite the Dust live Daughters of the Dawn live from Tokyo. This has been asked for me to do for quite a while from a lot of different people, so I thought it's time for me to jump into it and see what it's all about. Those who are new to this channel, just be prepared that I can have some criticism towards the band because I come more from a perspective of how do I personally feel about something, in less than me like outright criticizing a band. It's more to create conversation about the music we both love. So let's get into it and see what we got. Okay, so the epilogue is going to be like a nice kind of soft intro. Like a ballad.
So beautiful. If you have never been hurt, you can't feel the pain of others. I will believe myself. We'll never be alone. You will believe yourself. We are the only ones.
Well, this is a really nice intro, really nice. As a matter of fact, you guys, those who have been on my channel, the point of criticism I always said was something about the vocals, not because she was a bad vocalist. I always felt like I don't always like her in some of the songs that, or the vocal style she kind of chooses for some songs. Here, it's just absolutely beautiful, and you can see her background as a musician and kind of what she's done. There's so much soul in her voice. I have literally zero amount of complaints. I can't, and I'm very nitpicky kind of person. So far, it's just absolutely beautiful.
You have never failed. You can't be happy for success. If you have never loved, you can't fear the love from others. I will believe myself. We'll never be alone. You will believe yourself. We are the only ones forever.
Oh, right before it kicks on, I'm gonna pause it just right here. I'll be honest. I typically am not a huge fan of ballads because I think after, if I'm correct from my history, if I remember, the ones who really introduced ballads into the heavy metal genre were like Metallica, because they just did it. They showed everybody you can have a slow song and it's going to be great. And of course, we could go back to things like Beth with Kiss and everything like that. That there's moments in time where they're just absolutely great. But I feel like most bands were just trying to capitalize and trying to get as many newcomers as they could by creating a ballad song to be a little softer song intro to the band. And most of the time it came out to me like I just didn't like the ballad songs that I've heard. There was always some that would slip through the cracks. That was a beautiful ballad song. That was really, really nice. It's a nice setup. I don't know how heavy it's going to get from here because they can get pretty heavy and fast. But for me, this was just just a beautiful song. Forget about heavy metal. Just a beautiful song, beautiful voice, beautiful lyrics too. Ah, there's more. Okay.
Just the way you hurt, just the way you hurt. You know what you wanna be with your melody, yeah. Just the way you hurt, just the way you hurt.
This is my favorite vocal performance from her, hands down. Hands down. And it's just the whole song is very soulful. The solo is beautiful. I thought the song was ending, right? And then I was wrong. Just kind of kept going. That has this really nice solo to really capture and kind of become it kind of solidified to be something more than just like an in-between song, right? It became just something more, just a beautiful song. Yeah, this is awesome. But it's interesting that it's gonna go into something else, or that is the whole. Probably it sounds like a really nice ending to an album, unless I am wrong here. And I wanted to also point out something. Just kind of hit me. I did say something that my main issue with this band has always been the vocals. I hope you guys understand, those who are new to this channel and haven't seen any of the videos that I've done. It's just a personal opinion, it's not fact. I'm not stating it as a fact. It's not law. You don't have to agree with me. I just want to be able to express myself and not have to worry about every single time I say a word, oh, how is this fan base going to feel? It's like, no, I should be able to express how I feel. Try to do it as politely as I can. Sometimes it doesn't come out politely. And to wait to hear for you guys to say something that's like, hey, I disagree with you because I think she has this, this, and this are the qualities that I like. A comparison, like, between friends, not a yelling contest at each other, like screaming from two different sides, like pointing fingers at one another, That also being said, from the solo perspective, I really hear, like, I can picture this being a song from Judas Priest, especially like maybe from like Ram It Down era, beyond Beyond the Red Sky. Was it the name of the song? It's been a while. Or even like from something from like Turbo Lover. Like, it has this kind of a 90s, late 80s feel to it that I really like. I mean, out of all the Japanese bands I've listened to, I think they're the most traditional, quote unquote, heavy metal band with still their own kind of flavor and unique elements. And I'm guessing second song. Ending. Big rock ending. I like. Yeah, I'm a lot of times I change opinions on bands, and I think this is just a natural human reaction to things, right? I'll say I like one band more than the other, but I think I've mentioned Nemophila and this band probably being the two top Japanese bands you guys have introduced me to, because I like this being a more no thrills, no frills kind of traditional speed power metal, thrash metal kind of sound, whereas Nemophila is this kind of more modern sound that I've enjoyed. And I'm again not discrediting what I've heard with Dexacore or what I've heard with Pale Dusk, what I've heard with Bandmate. They have their own good qualities in their own kind of sense as well, but this is kind of to my liking more. Can't be the only one who thinks about this galloping melody as something from Iron Maiden. You know what I also really, really enjoy? They all own the stage. And that's where I've changed my opinion a lot. I think in the beginning I've said, and because maybe it was the end of the concert, I think I remember something like that you guys pointed out, where they're kind of a little bit more stationary, a little bit more not doing much, they're just playing their instruments. And it happens a lot in death metal bands. It happens a lot in I've seen it just a lot in concerts, and I can love the band. Like for example, I love Nile, but they tend to just stand in one place when they play, and it's like I want a little bit more interaction. And thrash metal tends to be a lot more interaction. Power metal and traditional metal, they tend to interact and kind of walk around and just kind of, I don't know, showboating. I don't know how you would call it. And here is that element that I know I've criticized in the past, and obviously I was wrong about, because here they really own the stage. They're just walking around, they're kind of, interacting with it, looking at the crowd, or the way that the singer, she's really kind of posed herself at this kind of authority in the band, which makes me really like it. Not to mention, their sound live is really good. I wish sound concert, like the sound in concert sounded this good everywhere you go, because out of all the concerts I've been to, it's always been a 50-50. Sometimes they don't get set up right. Maybe you don't hear it. Maybe it's just too loud. You have to put something in your ears to be able to drown out some of the bass or something like that. Or somebody like Manowar, who are out of their mind and bring more wattage than is what allowed, to absolutely, like, your heart vibrates from all the bass. It's just too much. Yeah, this was awesome. This is a really good song. If I have to say, you know what, there's like a weird sometimes combination of things that I listen to. It's like there's some bands I enjoy listening to it, but I'd never seek it out. And that's what I think with about Lovebites a lot of times. There's moments in time when I want to hear some of the songs you guys introduced me to, and I come back to them on YouTube. But I don't find myself actually listening a lot to their albums. And it's a no disrespect to the band at all. It's just like, it's pure preference. I think my brother will be the first one to tell you that it's just like power metal, traditional metal is very, very rarely do I sit down and listen to it. But I really enjoy hearing it, and this is why I go. For example, as much as I talk about Iron Maiden, being a fan of Iron Maiden, I forgot the last time I sat down and listened to a full album. I'm not counting Senjutsu, the latest album they released, or sitting down, listening to a Judas Priest album from beginning to the end. Besides, I already kind of burned them to death, both Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. I can't listen to them anymore. I've always seen myself to find myself on the spectrum of death metal, thrash metal, black metal more, because that speaks to me more. But there are moments and moods when I come back to something like this and I just want something that's a little bit lighter, and still just like so soulful. I said this word a lot. And I come away impressed whether I would listen to this song or not. Again, it's impossible on the logical and the emotional level to crap on it. It's probably one of the better songs I've heard from this band. I'll put it this way. because there's so much traditional sound of what you expect of heavy metal, and so much of her voice, I think, here actually adds a layer that makes it sound very different. That's what I would say. Now, I would love to hear from the fans as well. Sepho, I want to hear specifically from you, man, because you really requested this song. So this one was for you, man. I would want to hear your love for this song, why you guys particularly love this combination, maybe perhaps this performance. And make sure to take care of yourselves, guys. Keep it metal.